Hey guys, Miss Sewing here, and in today's video we're going to talk all about how this classroom is structured. The number one thing you need to know is that this is a self-paced classroom, which means you're the one who decides your pace. You decide how long something is going to take because we all learn at very different speeds, and I'll get into that in a little bit. You may have noticed in Google Classroom that your assignments are preloaded. You have everything for the entire unit up at the front. So of course here on the page is Unit 0, which we're in right now, just the sort of introduction to US history, intro to the class, all the getting to know you fun stuff. All of your tasks or lessons are already listed and they're color-coded, which I'll explain shortly, but everything is up at the start of the unit, and you're going to progress down the list at your pace. So that brings me to the why. Why do we do self-pacing? Why are we doing things differently? A couple reasons. Number one is that these traditional lectures where I'm standing at the front of the room telling you what you need to know and you're writing notes down furiously, they don't work. In fact, research shows that when you listen to a lecture, and you participate in a lecture that is done in most classrooms in America, you come away with about 10%. That's how much you retain. You only remember 10% of the information. That's a pretty poor percentage. I'm about working smarter, not harder. And so we do things differently because I'm not happy with that number. The second thing is that we all work at very different speeds, which I mentioned in the previous slide. Sometimes we get sick and we miss class for a couple days. Sometimes we're just going through some things, and even though we were here, we weren't really present. And so it's kind of insane to come back from a vacation or from a couple sick days and just jump right into class like nothing happened. You need more time, and that's okay. Third thing is that it's very normal to have to revise and to try again. So if you make a mistake, if you're not getting something, you don't just get to move on. You need to learn it before you advance. That is normal. That is how we learn. And so we've built in that time through this model. As you have, of course, noticed, we use video lessons in this class. You're in one right now. And with each video lesson comes a paper guided notes to help you learn how to take notes. It's not just a skill we're born with. We gotta practice. So a couple things I want to put on your radar. Number one, you must wear headphones. You got to listen to me on top of just seeing the slides. It's gonna make your attention go up. If you just watch, it's not nearly as effective as when you listen. In addition, guided notes. You're gonna see them with every video. It's gonna help guide you through the video. And finally, want to make you aware of some technology that can assist. Number one, subtitles on YouTube. If you click this button, it's called closed captioning, that CC button, you're going to be able to see my words as I'm speaking them. And you can also translate into other languages. It's not 100% accurate, but hey, it helps. Let's get into this color-coded system, which is here on Google Classroom. It's on your game board, which I'll explain in a moment. And it's to help you understand what do you have to do to master a specific unit. So first of all, we have these blue must-do lessons. These are what are required. Basically, there's no getting around a must-do lesson. In order to have a proficient understanding of the topic, you must do it. Pretty simple. The should-dos in green, think of those as like extra practice. If you are struggling with a specific unit, it is a really good idea to do these should-dos because it's going to help make that unit go from difficult to something that you've mastered, that you feel comfortable with. Finally, you'll see some yellows on occasion. These are called aspire to-dos. Think of this as like an extra challenge. It might be a field trip, fingers crossed, which I'm working on. It could be a documentary that is talking about some of the concepts in a unit. It could just be a more challenging lesson that not everyone maybe needs to do, but it could help those who are looking for that extra push. And finally, our mastery checks. Think of these as tests or exams. You're going to see these throughout units. They're going to be short, maybe 5 questions or so, and they must be passed before moving on. Because there are a lot of us who prefer paper, we got a lot of digital stuff last year with virtual learning. What you're looking at here, I'm calling the game board. I don't know why I'm calling it the game board. That's just what it looks like to me. If you have a better name, I'm all ears. But this is like a one sheet of overview of the unit. So what you're looking at, of course, is unit number 0, our intro unit. And you'll see that our must-do lessons are in blue, while our should-do lessons are in green. It's a quick color-coded view of the next couple of weeks. When you complete this, come see me. I've got stickers, I've got stamps, I've got other fun and exciting things to help mark off your box, add a little fun to our days. And again, this is an overview. Everything is on Google Classroom, but I find the paper can be helpful. I want to finish up this video by talking about grading. How does it work? What does it look like? So number one, you're going to see rubrics kind of like this. It's a pretty simple one on anything that you might turn in for feedback or a grade. And you're going to see two options here. You're either going to see mastered or not yet mastered. Mastered, of course, means that you are good to go. You can move on to that next lesson. Not yet mastered says that you've maybe missed a step. You need to revise, something's not quite correct. You're not showing that you understand the topic, and so you need to go back and fix it and then resubmit. So what that looks like in the gradebook, a mastered is going to be a 100, a not yet mastered would be a 50, but again, you're revising and resubmitting it to eventually get that 100. So of course that means there are no completion grades. You will not see a piece of paper that's been slapped with a 70% on it just because you turned it in. You either show that you've mastered it or you haven't and you need to revise. Those are your two options. Remember that you can always reattempt those lessons and those mastery checks. If you are getting a not yet mastered, you can go back and fix it. These are not permanent grades. You can always get that 100. There's also no late work penalty. I don't feel and I do not believe that you should be penalized for taking more time than I think that you should take. Like I said earlier, we all learn at different speeds. That said, all work is due by the due date on your game board or in Google Classroom. Of course, you can turn that in before as well. You don't have to wait till the last minute. But that is sort of that final due date because we do live in a system where I've got to get grades in at the end of the 6 weeks and you need a grade as well. So that date on your game board in Google Classroom is your hard deadline for the 6 weeks or for the grading period. Thanks for watching, y'all. That was an overview of how this classroom is structured. If you have more questions, of course, come see me. But at this point, you're going to complete those guided notes. You're going to turn it in and move on to the next activity or lesson.